In this video, I'm sharing about how to stop doubting your dreams and instead develop a clear and strong belief in what you're wanting to manifest that leads to its full realization. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Adrianne. I'm a manifesting coach and intuitive guide, and on my channel, we talk about getting into the flow and manifesting with ease. So if that is something you're interested in, I invite you to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you'll be the first to know when I publish new videos. A simple formula to use to understand how manifestation happens is desire plus belief equals manifestation. This is a really simple and easy formula, of course, to follow with dreams that we have an easy time believing in, that we can easily see ourselves achieving. Those pretty quickly and easily transform themselves into reality. But for those bigger dreams, those things that we see as big or as challenging or as unlikely, in those cases, unfortunately, we can kill our big dreams with equally big doubts. And so in this video, we're going to look at how to retrain our minds so we can stop doubting and instead believe, and how we can accomplish this in order to help what we want manifest. So how do we stop doubting and start believing in what we want to manifest, even if it seems unlikely? Well, first of all, it helps to remember that a belief is just a thought that we keep thinking. And so the process of transforming our mindset from doubt to confidence to belief is simply a matter of practicing new thoughts enough so that we make the shift into a greater state of belief versus doubt. And so let's start with 3 ways to do this. The first way to do this is that we want to focus on any of the signs or evidence or things that are manifesting that point to our bigger dream coming into reality. I have a video that I created about this that's called 10 signs that what you want is on its way, something like that. So I'll link that in the description box below, because that'll give you a good sense of some of the signs that you could look for to tell whether or not what you want is manifesting, and really just pointing our focus on all the reasons, all the little evidence of why what we want is happening versus looking for the reasons to doubt or disbelieve, or the reasons why you could say maybe it's not happening. That's part of the discipline that we have to develop with our mindset in order to start to make the shift from doubt to belief. The second way to transform doubt into belief is to tell a different story. So it's likely that if you have something that you want and it's seeming really unlikely to manifest, or you're having a hard time believing in it, it's because of the story that you're telling yourself about it. And so this takes some self-awareness to recognize when you are telling yourself things like a story about why it's unlikely, a story about why other people can create this but not you, a story about why you may have failed in the past to create this, and so it's unlikely that you'll be able to do it now. You want to shift into new stories about your capability, about why it's likely to happen, about why, because other people have created it, that means you can create it also. You want to just be more aware of how you're talking to yourself about this desire and choose the story that leans more towards why this desire is not only possible, but is even really likely to happen. And then the third way to help transform your mindset from doubt to belief is to use the power of specificity. And what I mean by that is that you want to be more specific, more precise about the reasons why what you want is manifesting, and with the evidence that you're seeing about why what you want is coming into reality. And you want to be more general, more vague, more fuzzy about the evidence or the things that are manifesting, the things that are happening that seem to point against what you want. So like maybe an example of this would be if I had an intention to lose weight or improve my health, and I don't really have that specific intention of losing weight necessarily, but just it could provide a clear example. Because say that I was doing this and I was maybe focused on a specific amount of weight that I wanted to lose. And so I was getting on the scale every day and I was noticing specifically what my weight was, and maybe it wasn't in the goal that I had, it wasn't in the manifested kind of number that I was looking for, that would be a way of specifically focusing and like using my powers of specificity to counter what I wanted. If every day I was seeing that my weight hadn't changed, then that was making me doubt what I was doing to try to manifest this weight loss goal, versus if I would be more general by just not even getting on the scale at all, then that would be more helpful for causing me to step into a greater sense of belief that I could manifest this weight loss that maybe I wanted. And on the other side, like if I looked for other signs of evidence, like maybe as part of this goal, I started eating new foods that made me feel more uplifted, more energetic, more healthy, then I could get more specific about noticing the positive changes that I'm experiencing from these foods and how they're making me feel lighter and more energetic, and lean into the specificity around those positive signs that I'm seeing. And then that would really help increase the momentum and increase the manifestation towards what I wanted in this example. Okay, now that we've talked about a few ways to start retraining our mindset towards belief in big or seemingly unlikely dreams that we want to manifest, let's cover 3 thoughts to think that can also help with shifting from doubt to belief. And I've deliberately kept these pretty general so that they could be applicable to hopefully whatever you might want to manifest. They're not focused around a specific topic. So let's take a look at these. Okay, thought number 1 is I know how the system works and I can work it to my advantage. Basically, if you're a conscious creator, if you're someone who has already experienced the power of manifestation, then you really want to lean into that belief and that understanding. Maybe the things that you've manifested have been things that, sure, seem smaller or seemed easier, but manifestation is the same for things that are big versus things that seem smaller. It's just a matter of applying those same tools, that same philosophy. And so just leveraging what you already believe in manifestation and just trusting that process, trusting your skills is something that can really help you shift from doubt to belief, because you're not even looking at the specifics of the situation. You're taking a more general view by just focusing on your confidence in the manifestation process in general. And a lot of times that can make it easier and can be like a shortcut for creating something in the physical that's really different than what you've created before. Is you can just remember that manifestation works and applies for anything. There's no limit really. It's like Abraham says, it's as easy to create a castle as a button. And so like big dreams are only big because we've trained ourselves to see them that way. We can apply the same principles that we've used to create like a parking space, or like, finding pennies on the ground, or like a free lunch or something like that, and apply them to things that seem a lot bigger. It's the same set of tools. All right, thought number 2 is I wouldn't have manifested the desire if I didn't have the ability to create this. This one is pretty good. This one recognizes that if you have the clarity around something that you want, that's really a sign that you have what it takes to fully achieve and fully manifest that idea, that desire. Because really that is like the first step on the path, is that clarity and that identification of what you want. And so logically, if you just follow along that same path that's been outlined by this clear desire, then it makes sense that if you keep going, you will eventually get to the manifestation. And so just kind of remembering that you already have the process started, it's already in motion. It's kind of another metaphor that I like to think of sometimes. It's kind of like a seed. A desire is kind of like if you plant a seed, like a tiny little seed has the potential to become maybe like a giant tree, like a giant sequoia tree or something. And that potential, it starts out really small, but as it's nurtured, as it keeps developing, it becomes this amazing, magnificent tree. And so the desires that you have, you can think of them as like being planted in your heart. It's that seed of potential, and it's got the potential to become that amazing thing, whatever it is that you want. And so all you have to do is just be consistent in your care, in your nurture of that desire. And just like a seed can transform, a tiny seed can transform into a giant tree, your desire can also transform into this totally new, magnificent reality if you follow the same sort of approach. And then finally, thought number 3 is I've done this before and I can do it again. And what I mean by this is that I'm going to guess all of us, we all have something in our lives right now that at one time in the past seemed really unlikely or seemed really big or perhaps unbelievable. For me, one example of this is like when I was growing up as a teenager in Eastern Tennessee, I really had this dream of moving to the West Coast and becoming like a West Coast girl. And it seemed pretty unlikely at the time because like we had moved away from the West Coast when I was a really little kid and we never traveled there. I had never visited since I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old. And I didn't know how I would be able to go back there. But now to this today version of me who's lived in Oregon for like 15 years at this point, it just seems obvious and like this kind of West Coast sort of lifestyle that I really wanted so much when I was younger. I just kind of take it for granted because it's just like what I'm used to. And so really just thinking about what are some of those things that are in your reality now, like maybe it's your romantic partner, or maybe it's like the house that you live in, or maybe the car that you drive, or just whatever it is, like something that's in your reality right now that at one time seemed big or seemed unlikely, and just reminding yourself of how you allowed that kind of a big manifestation to happen for you can help with shifting your mindset around any current desires that seem too big and helping them to seem easy and doable as well. So as I said at the beginning, truly the power is in repetition, and so it takes some time to retrain our mindset from doubting to believing. But the good news is that even though that process can take a little bit of time, there is the benefit right away of the improvement in how you feel. And that's how you know that it's working. When you find a way to shift your mindset into a greater sense of belief versus doubt, you immediately manifest a more positive emotional state and a greater feeling of optimism, a greater feeling of hopefulness, and a greater sense of inspiration around what you're wanting to create. And that's a really positive experience in itself. And so this mindset work, yes, it leads to creating big dreams down the road, but it also leads to a better experience today and to a greater enjoyment of the journey of manifestation. I would love to know what you like to use to help yourself transform doubt into belief. If you have any specific tools that work well for you, whether it's like certain affirmations or maybe visualization, or one that I've used before is like creating an actual evidence log. So like recording specific signs that I notice that are on the path of what I want to manifest. I've really enjoyed doing that in the past. If you have anything that I haven't mentioned in this video that you'd like to share about and let us know what you're finding really helpful, definitely leave that in the comments below this video so that we can all kind of benefit from what you have to share about this topic as well. If you would like more tips and tricks and manifesting inspiration from me, then definitely download my free guide to the 7 habits of highly magical people. I have a link to this guide in the description box below this video, so you can check that out if you're interested. And be sure to check out this next video all about how to use goals and intentions together to manifest faster. Setting goals around what you want to manifest is really something that can help boost your belief. This video shares all about that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy manifesting.